right, so as I have talked to you guys about before, I am not a Ninja Turtles collector. I really don't collect Ninja Turtles in any of their forms, whether it be NECA, Playmates, Super 7, any of that stuff. I just don't collect Ninja Turtles. Now, that being said, I was a huge Ninja Turtle fan as a kid. Loved Ninja Turtles, like pretty much bought every single thing they had, playsets, vehicles, figures, everything they had between like 1988 and like, you know, I don't know, 92, give or take, something like that. Loved Ninja Turtles as a kid. One of the best toy lines that has ever existed, in my opinion. And out of all of those old school toys, the one figure that just to me was hands down the best out of the bunch was this guy right here, Metalhead. I love this figure. I thought it was awesome. To this day, I still think it's awesome. This one is not even in great condition, but I love this figure. Always have, always will. It was Ninja Turtles mixed with a robot. You know, you got the vac metal on here, you know, looking all shiny and stuff, and the backpack and everything else. And I've always loved this figure. So even though, as an adult, I don't collect Ninja Turtles, I wanted to pick this guy up. Now, I know he's been out for a while, and I'm just now getting around to picking him up. But I'm very excited, so I hope I'm not disappointed. We will have to wait and see. But here we have him in the package. We got some stuff there on the back. Got some pictures from the cartoon. We got pictures of the figure there. Of course, we've got the figure itself right in there. Kind of dark there in that package. But don't worry, we're going to crack this guy open. And as usual, we're going to see what we've got inside. All right, so I got him out of the package here, and we'll do accessories real quick first. All right, so we get a couple of extra gripping hands right there. We get a couple of fisted hands right here. We get a couple of replacement accessories for his hands. You can pop his hands off and either have a drill hand or a vacuum hand, which of course the vacuum hand is from the cartoon back in the day. And then of course he's got a little laser gun that I'll show you where that plugs in here in just a little bit. So, got that out of the way. Let's look at the figure itself. And I gotta say, just from an aesthetic point of view, the thing is gorgeous. I mean, it really is. It looks just like the character from the cartoon, which looks great, looks amazing. They did a fantastic job here. I mean, look at this. We even got a little switch on his back, a little on-off switch. You can probably want to be careful with that. It's a very, very small piece of plastic, but very cool there. The shell looks great. The color looks great. Like, everything just pops on this guy. You know, he's got the belt with the grenades on there. The head looks amazing. You know, everything just looks fantastic. Really well done as far as the sculpt goes. Really love this thing, man. It really just evokes all that kind of nostalgia and stuff from when I was a kid, which is awesome. As far as articulation goes, don't usually go over that kind of stuff, but this is a little bit different. So we do have a ball joint on the shoulders that come up a little bit, not much. You do have a bicep swivel there, and then single jointed elbows that only come up to that much. You got rotation on the wrists, and then of course you've got a little bit of play there in the wrists as well, back and forth. Head is on a ball joint. He looks down a little bit, doesn't really look up, and then of course you can spin his head around, that kind of thing. He does have a twist there at the waist, or well, mid-torso, I guess. He's got ball joint hips and single jointed knees, and then he does have the swivel there at the top of the leg, and then right above the knee he's got another swivel there. And then the feet just have this back and forth right here. That's all they've got in there for that. You can't really do anything else with them. It looks like they might, I mean, it is technically a ball joint, sort of, but it really doesn't do anything. It just back and forth. That's all this does. So, basic articulation, but not bad for the character. But certainly compared to a lot of other figures out there, you know, whether it be other NECA stuff or whatever other, you know, line you would want to compare this to, certainly the articulation is lessened, you know, without the double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, that kind of thing. So you're not buying this thing for articulation, you're buying this thing basically because of the sculpt, which lots of figures out there like that. Some I like, some I don't. Mythic Legends comes to mind, or excuse me, Legions comes to mind. When it comes to figures I'm not a big fan of with limited articulation. This one doesn't bother me because it's a robot figure. I don't really need a whole lot of articulation out of him. I look at this guy same way I would look at Black Series figures that are droids. kind of the same thing. He's actually got more articulation than I thought he would have, so that's good, but still not great articulation, but the sculpt and the paint are on point. Now let's take a look at some of the accessories here, just on the figure. So you pop the hands off there, and then you take like your little drill bit accessory, kind of plug it in there, and then you've got that. Then of course, if you want to, you can pop this side off, get it there, and then you can take his vacuum accessory and pop that on this arm, and then he can, I don't know, drill and vacuum at the same time. Then of course, cool little feature here, we've got this piece on his chest that actually pops open, and this is where you plug in his laser right there. So much like he had on the cartoon, he's got the little laser that comes out of his chest. So there he is, kind of all decked out with all his accessories, looking pretty cool. Like I said, man, this thing is kind of on point for what I would expect, and certainly compared to the older figure here, obviously a lot of differences. Still love this guy, one of my favorite figures of all time. But this thing is absolutely awesome, definitely great. Let's go ahead and throw up some comparisons with some other figures and see how this guy stacks up. So first up, we got to compare him to some of the other TMNT figures that I have from NECA. Different lines. I mean, they do so many different TMNT stuff. They've got the animated line, cartoons, black and white, comic versions, movie versions, all kinds of stuff. None of these are from the same line. Of course, on the right, we've got Bride of Frankenstein, April O'Neil in the movie style. And then on the left, we've got a foot soldier, which I actually got in a 2-pack with this guy right here, Raphael, and you can see just comparing these two how much bigger Metalhead is than Raphael. And I don't remember if he's supposed to be that much bigger, or it could just be these are from two different lines where the sizes really aren't comparable there, but all are NECA figures, and either way, I mean, this guy looks great here. All right, more 7-inch scale comparisons here. Of course, on the left, we've got a McFarlane Warhammer figure. This is one of the Chaos Space Marines. On the right, we got my customized Conan the Barbarian that I made out of a Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, He-Man, one of the versions, multiple versions that I slapped together to kit bash this guy. Either way, these look great. I mean, Metalhead here is 7-inch scale. He looks good. I mean, he even looks pretty formidable as far as just size and beefiness compared to this Warhammer figure. Now, the Warhammer figure has a lot better articulation, but when it comes to paint, I don't know. I think the Metalhead kind of has it up on this Warhammer figure, which I love the Warhammer line, and the, you know, articulation and sculpt and everything are great, but pretty basic paint when it comes to those figures. This Metalhead looks pretty damn good. All right, so let's talk price here real quick. And this guy's going to run 33 to 35 bucks, give or take. Depends on where you pick him up, and if you got to order them online, pay for shipping, that kind of thing. So it's in that basic normal range for NECA figures, you know, in that mid-30s area. So is it worth retail? Yeah, it is. Honestly, it is. Look, the only downside to this is it does have poor articulation, but because he's a robot, just like I said with Black Series figures, I'm willing to overlook that for this particular character since it is not a line-wide issue. But just with this guy, I'm okay with that. And the fact that he's still in the mid-30s as opposed to something like the aforementioned Mythic Legions that run for $45 and up and have worse articulation than this. So yeah, I do think it's worth it. Look, you're getting a really cool sculpt, you're getting great colors, you're getting a great figure, and if like me, the nostalgia factor is real with this guy. Look, I mean, just seriously, like, come on. We got this guy, we got this guy, huh? Look at that. This dude's cool, but let's be honest here. He was not cartoon accurate. This guy, legitimately cartoon accurate. I mean, he looks the way he was drawn on the cartoon, and it looks fantastic. So, look, I'm happy I picked this guy up. This is going to be a nice addition to my collection. I think if you like TMNT, or even if you were just a fan of the old school cartoon when you were a kid like I was, this is still cool to pick up even if you don't collect the rest of the line, just like me. I mean, I have no intentions of going and buying a whole bunch of NECA TMNT stuff, but this thing's cool, and I'm definitely glad to have it. So, that is it, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and remember to always enjoy your collection. We'll talk to you guys soon.